So this, the X-Tool P2 CO2 laser, is without a doubt to my mind an awesome tool, and we've done some really cool things with it. However, it is quite expensive, but then it's not the only alternative. This is a diode laser that Algo tools sent me. It's their Alpha MK2, and diode lasers have quite a lot to recommend them. They're easier to look after, they tend to be open frame, they tend to have a smaller footprint, and they tend to be very much cheaper. This will set you back about £700. Now that's not cheap obviously, but it is an awful lot cheaper than about 4,000. But if you think about the crystal generator that we just built using traditional tools, you probably had a walkthrough of about £2,000 worth of tool. So certainly, this is in the realm of a tool that you would find in everyday use, whereas the CO2 laser from X-Tool is probably more in the realm of if you're really interested in lasers. Now, diode lasers didn't used to be that powerful. They were up to about 5 watts. And then some very, very clever boy thought of a way of putting them together optically to stack their power. So this is a 20-watt laser. And a good rule of thumb is 10 watts of laser is able to cut through on one pass about 1 millimeter of acrylic. So we should be able to do a good job on chunks of acrylic with this in maybe 1 or 2 passes. Of course, on the X-Tool P2 we can cut through in 1 pass, but it's a 55-watt laser. This is a 20-watt laser, and so it should still do a very good job. It is certainly a hell of a lot cheaper, and it'll be interesting to see what it's actually like. Now, Algo Tool is a relatively new company. They came onto the scene about 2023, but they were set up as a spin-off. Well, I suppose spin-off isn't right, but the guy who actually, one of the guys who started Auto Lasers moved and started Algo Laser. So, they sent me this to have a review of. Clearly, from their side of things, it's advertising, and I'm okay with that because we get the chance to take it out of the box and have a look at it, and let's do exactly that. So when you get it out of its not insubstantial packaging, I will say that for it, this is what you get. Now, it's worth taking a moment to point a couple of things out. 4 of these. This is what's often called an extension kit. It screws into the point of the legs at the bottom and raises everything up, so you can use stuff like the roller table, that kind of thing. And it's more common to find those 4 legs sold separately as an extension kit. The other thing you often find sold separately is this. It's the honeycomb table. The honeycomb table is one of those things that makes it an awful lot easier to use, doesn't have reflection and prevents you burning whatever it is you're cutting on. So it's quite often recommended to get one of these, and again, you see them sold as extensions, and it does have a bit of aluminium to either go on the top or underneath, I guess, to protect everything. And that is usually sold as an extra. But they came in the box, so to speak, and form part of what Algo Laser are calling their basic kit, which I think at first sight is actually quite a lot for your money. Now, in order to create what they're calling their Pro Kit, they've added a smart camera. Now, it is an open frame design with all of the issues involved with open frame. If you don't like those issues, then if you add a smart enclosure, you get what they're calling their Safe Kit. And when I look at this, there are also some pretty cool things just looking at it. Have a look at these driver motors here. They're fairly substantial for NEMA stepper motors, so that's quite cool to see. And it's supposed to be super easy to put together, which we'll find out in a moment, because we haven't had anything to put together for quite a while. Because putting things together, certainly in terms of 3D printers, is going out of the door. It's still there, it would seem, with things like laser cutters, and we have to put this together. It makes sense to me. And of course, the all-important laser head. There's something else that's really interesting as well, actually, and it's right here. It comes with an air assist pump. Again, I have seen these diode lasers with this as an extra, so you get air assist with the thing, which is pretty cool. So there's quite a lot to recommend it, and it does look chunky and pretty industrial, so let's get it together and find out how easy it actually is. Okay, there it is together. It wasn't too difficult to put together. All I did was follow the instruction book, and the instructions are fine. I mean, they help me put it together because it's so simple. It's basically 3 screws, 3 screws, 3 screws, 3 screws, and tighten up the belts. But there were a couple of little oddities. One of them was the air feed hose. In the instruction book, it shows it as attached to the laser header, the control box, but it isn't. And I got 2 of them, and there were different sizes. So of course I immediately put the wrong size in the wrong bit and had to swap it round. But that wasn't too difficult, and I just did that. I put the thing together and found that out. They also supply you with some cable ties, which I used here, and they weren't enough. I had to add a couple more just to make everything nice and neat. And the whole thing was put together with the little toolbox they supply, and in there are some mysterious bits, actually a particular mysterious bit. I've got no idea what it does, and I did check a couple of times. Is this knurled knob? No doubt in future I'll find out what that is supposed to do, but I've got no idea what it actually does. And they also sent this little box of what looks like very, very tiny condoms, but in fact they're spare lenses. There's a couple of spare lenses in there, which I think is pretty cool actually to have done that. So a couple of spare lenses and another mysterious bit. There's a bit of Velcro. I don't know why, but there's a little bit of Velcro there meant to stick on something, and no doubt again it'll be one of those things that I find out in time what that's all about. So I found out where this thumb screw is supposed to go. It's supposed to go on the side here. This is a manual focus, so you undo that lever, put this little top hat on your workpiece, drop it down, and then do the lever back up and it's focused. And in the instructions it says, then tighten the thumb screw. And I did look at other people's videos and they were doing it. But in mine, it's got this screw in there that seems fixed, and there's a slice down the middle, so the whole thing clamps it. So it looks like an update, and this is actually basically useless. I mean, I'm going to ignore it and we'll see if anything horrible happens. I also discovered what these little condoms are for. They're for your fingers. You stick one on your finger when you're changing the lens to stop you getting grease marks. That's kind of awesome. That's kind of weird. And to be absolutely fair to Algo, their own instruction video on how to put this together is bang up to date and really, really cool and easy to follow. So I wish I'd watched it first. Let that be a lesson to you, I suppose. The honeycomb comes with graduations on the side of it, so your positioning's made a bit easier. And this whole basic kit, remember, comes with the little roller edition. I mean, I never do roller stuff, so I doubt I'll ever use that. But it comes, if you want to do cups and glasses and that sort of thing, comes as part of it along with the extension lens. They did send me the Pro version, and the Pro version includes this called a smart camera. Now you have to run the camera on your computer, but it is going to help a lot in positioning the drawing on the workpiece without all that tedious mucking around of guessing where it goes. Now one of the big USPs of this is the ease of use, and I don't really know about that. All I've done is got it out of the box. But one of the things I did like about it was the Wi-Fi capability. So you basically turn it on and log it onto your Wi-Fi, and all I did was follow another one of their excellent tutorials, and I put that link down in the description. It was a piece of cake. It linked up really, really easily, and I downloaded the app Algolaser onto my phone and linked it to the same Wi-Fi. Quick search, picked up the machine, no problem at all, and it's a fun to use app. You just upload your file, bring your file into the app, do a little bit of arranging, and bingo, you're off to go. Now, I chose one of their preloaded files, and all it's going to do is do some etching and some cutting as a kind of test. But I did like the fact that you could have control over this just using your phone, which I thought was really cool. So I've linked it up, chosen the thing, and if I do preview area, you're so modern, running my machine from my phone. It's ready to go, and what we'll do is put on the glasses and press cut. Okay, to be honest, that was a bit of fun. I stuck a bit of 3mm basswood under there because I don't mind the smell of burning wood, but I do mind the smell of burning plastic, and that's why I did the phone, because the Wi-Fi connection is kind of important if you think about it. You can run this thing from the phone app, you can run it from a Wi-Fi connection, you can run it via direct computer connection, or you can run it by USB. All of those are really great things, because without buying the enclosure kit, then you're going to have fumes. So one thing about Wi-Fi is you can move it into another area, like a garage or a shed or something like that, where the fumes aren't really important, because there's a progress bar to tell you how it's doing, so you can always go back when it's finished and just leave it alone and you know, vent the room or whatever it is, so at least don't stand there. But this thing really is the drawback of all open frames, and it's why open frames are starting to sell enclosures. I mean, you could make your own enclosure, or you could buy the enclosure, or if you don't want to do that, set it somewhere you're not, and you're going to be fine. And so I really think it's an important issue with the Wi-Fi, and it was a breeze. And on the plus points of this, those support videos, and I recommend you watch them, are absolutely brilliant. They're really simple, really straightforward, and hardly worth the trouble of me showing you how to put it together, because they do such a good job of it. And the same thing about the connection. The connection's really easy to do using their video, and then we can see the results of the connection and check that it works, which for me, it did. I mean, it was, 10 minutes setting it up. It was absolutely nothing at all. There's a nice little progress bar, like I say, and it's really easy to use. So I enjoyed using it. But a drawback of these open frame diode lasers is there is no library of materials per se, and so these test grids can be very helpful to tell you what kind of power settings you need to put in to be able to cut through or engrave something properly. Now, the software it uses is going to either be Lightburn or Laser GRBL. I'm a fan of Laser Gerbil because it's free. Lightburn give you 30 days, and I think it's about 55 quid for the license or something. But I hate paying for stuff if I don't have to pay for stuff. So Laser GRBL will be the one that I use. Now, of course, we're really going to tell something about this when we actually start putting it through its paces a little bit. And that's going to be a couple of projects, so we get a sense of it. Because I haven't used Laser Gerbil now for about 6 or 7 years. So there's going to be a learning curve for me. I'm not expecting much, an hour or two, but even so, I've got to install that software and relearn it and jig around with it a little bit. And I'll get that done, and we'll get some projects cut out. But out of the box, I thought it was pretty cool. It's a lot for your money. And I know it's still relatively expensive, but if you're wanting to take a step into laser cutting, then this might be a good route for you. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching, and please do remember to like and subscribe.